Why do prices of items change in Hypixel Skyblock? Now, besides from regular inflation, usually an increase in price stems from a game update that either makes an item better or makes a competitor of the item worse, or maybe a YouTube video that someone uploads that will raise awareness of how good an item actually is, or maybe even just a lack of supply for a certain item for whatever reason. Now, of course, this happens all the time. Sometimes we pay way more coins for an item than we used to, such as the stock of stonks, although that has its own story. But at the same time, sometimes we are now paying way less for an item than we were previously. Although what I wanted to talk about today is something I've talked about before, but is now getting completely out of hand. Now, back in the day, you could get an all-in Hyperion for 700 to 800 mil, and that was probably the going price for a long time. It slowly rose up to about 1 billion coins because, well, Crimson Isle updates and people wanted the Hyperion more than before. But the reason for those increases in prices were just purely sort of the increase in price of the Necron's handle. Which is fine by me. After all, it is one of the rarest items in the game to drop. And who wouldn't want to drop a Necron's handle? It's pretty much every Hypixel Skyblock player's dream at some point. But not anymore. If you want an all-in Hyperion, you're looking somewhere in the region of 1.5 to 2 billion coins, which is absolutely insane. And that's not because of the price of the sword or what you need to make the sword, it's the items you put on the sword, in particular the scrolls. In the past, scrolls were known to be as little as just a few million coins. They just added extras to put on the Hyperion. It's like putting ultimate wise on your weapon or wisdom on your armor. It was never a massive deal. But at the moment, that couldn't be further from the truth. Look at the prices, and I know I've talked about this before, but this is insane. Okay, if you put sell offers up, Implosion is 366 mil. Wither Shield is 312 mil. And Shadow Warp is 246 mil. Now, to think Shadow Warp is essentially just an aspect of the end attached to your Hyperion, or whatever Witherblade you've got, it's insane, the price of it. Now, if you buy the handle, that's about 560 mil at the moment. And to buy these 3 scrolls, it's going to cost you 704 million coins if you put orders in. So for most players, if you craft your own Hyperion, after you've crafted the Necron Blade and after you've put all your enchantments on, you're then going to have to spend more coins than what you've just spent, essentially, to then make it into what you want. Or around about the same again. It's just insane. Now, of course, the whole reason why this is happening is because the introduction of the RNG meter into dungeons. Now, the actual reason why this is if we take a look at the actual chances of you dropping a Necron's handle, you've got a 0.1004% chance to drop a Necron's handle from the bedrock chest in floor 7 from getting an S+. And for each one of the scrolls, you've got a 0.112% chance of dropping one of these from the bedrock chest from getting an S+ in floor 7 dungeons. So, the chances of getting a handle to a scroll are not that different, really. Now, of course, there is 3 scrolls to get, and there's only 1 handle, and I guess that's why there's still a sizable difference between the price of 1 scroll and 1 handle. It's just absolutely madness. Now, of course, inflation is a thing. And inflation has sort of made it so that number that you actually pay for the Hyperion, whatever it is, the 1.5 billion, is obviously not worth as much as it used to be worth. So that figure of 1.5 billion is, in reality, worth quite a lot less than it actually sounds. Nevertheless, that doesn't take away from the situation. Now, before we go any further, I need to ask you a question. Are you subscribed to the channel? And if you're not, why are you not? If you watched this far into the video, and you watch my other videos, you should subscribe, become part of the 23%. Also, join the Discord server, it's the top link in the description. If you watch this video within the first hour of it coming out, you may still be in time to join the Discord and maybe even be in the chance to win 250 million coins in this giveaway. Ends at 6 PM tomorrow. Also, if you've ever needed Slayer carries or dungeon carries, we've got you covered. You should join. Anyway, as for the scrolls and the Hyperion. Now, of course, the prices of the scrolls has caused an issue, but it hasn't caused a massive problem, and there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because the Hyperion is required in so many different realms of Skyblock. Not only dungeons, you've got Kudra, you've got other activities in the Crimson Isles, then you've also got Enderman Slayer. Hyperion is required for many high-tier activities within Skyblock. And when I said the same price hasn't caused a massive problem, you have to hear me out. At the end of the day, the price is still ridiculously high, but there isn't a low demand. There is still a very high demand for a maxed out Hyperion, and there's no doubt about it. Some people may think about the price for Hyperion now and just think it's not worth it. But at the end of the day, an item is only worth how much people pay for it. And if people are still consistently paying 1.5 billion for a maxed out Hyperion, then that's the price. It might not be worth it for you, but it is worth that much. Also, it's very hard to argue about a Hyperion being pretty much the best weapon in the game. You know, you can maybe argue a Terminator or a Dark Claymore for other activities, but I'm sure most people can come to that agreement. And for that reason, the best weapon in the game should have a barrier to entry. It wouldn't really be the best weapon in the game if everybody had a Hyperion. But it's still an issue. It's still a big issue. The prices of scrolls, they're just not healthy for the game, okay? At first they went up to 100 million and people were like, do we really want to pay this for a scroll? But now when you look at them and two of the three are above 300 million and Implosion close to 400 million, I mean, the prices are only going up. I think it was in Dorelius's most recent video and he mentioned the prices of scrolls. And he also mentioned the way that he thought that basically it could be fixed and the prices could be fixed. And that was just simply making the chances to drop the scrolls much higher. How can you argue with that? That is literally the most simple and logical solution ever. And it would not take long to implement at all. It'd just be a case of changing numbers. That way more people will drop scrolls and the prices will drop. The only reason they're so expensive at the moment is because there's such a lack of supply. Couple that with not as many people playing dungeons, more people playing Kudra and so on. Anyway, like I said before, at the moment it isn't a massive issue. It is still the best weapon in the game and people are still willing to pay the price. But the issue we now have is the Necron's handle is dropping significantly in price and the scrolls are only going up. So if something isn't changed or implemented or if something isn't done, then there is going to be an issue. At the end of the day, the scrolls should never be really anywhere near or more expensive than the handle, and at this rate, this is where it's going. Like, can you imagine if you hadn't played Hypixel Skyblock for, I don't know, like a year, or not even a year, like, just over half a year? I don't know, maybe you have some dungeon items in one of your chests or your backpacks, and you see scrolls are like 350 mil. I'd be pretty shocked, so I don't know about you. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think a Hyperion, a maxed out Hyperion, when I say maxed out, I just mean with the scrolls and pretty much regular enchantments and recombobulated. Nothing crazy, but even so, is the Hyperion worth like 1.4, 1.5 billion coins? I'm sure some people are probably going to say yeah, and some people are going to say no. I'd personally say it is, but I assume other people are going to probably not think so. I'm currently looking at the Wither Shield scroll, and even if we just look back to towards the end of December, scrolls were around about 150 mil, well, for the Wither Shield at least. And at this point we thought this is ridiculous. But now, okay, now it is ridiculous. And of course the issue we now face is just purely the fact that people are just not opting to go for the scrolls on the RNG meter just because, well, a handle's more expensive, and it's not really much difference. Like, it makes more sense to go for a handle. So as I was saying before, like, they could quite easily just change the actual chances of dropping both items, or potentially just change the chances of dropping the scrolls, or somehow give another incentive to actually sort of go for the scroll rather than the handle. Well, therefore the prices will drop, there's more supply. But I can only envisage that that would be done through basically making it easier to get. I don't know, it's a very weird situation if I'm being honest. But anyway, I think that just about wraps up today's video. I hope you all have enjoyed. If you have, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.